You should have tried harder.
Ennis is a solid archer who has a good offensive spread of 33 attack, 34 speed, as well as a good 31 resistance. In this video, I'm going to go over how my own minus res Ennis can reach 51 resistance with a little bit of help. To achieve this monstrous increase in resistance, we start off with a base 28 from Ennis with a minus res Bane. Using Ennis' own Fortress Res A skill grants 5 res at the cost of 3 attack, but that will be addressed later. Ennis also uses Distant Defense 3 Sacred Seal to grant plus 6 resistance when he gets attacked by a mage. This setup only requires one ally and provides the needed stat boost to reach 51 res. So if you didn't know, Ennis' legendary bow Nidhogg grants plus 2 to all stats during combat for every ally he is directly next to. This same idea also applies to the ally support feature, so Ennis with ally support of at least rank C with this one ally will gain plus 2 resistance when next to them. This ally will also be using a rally resistance buff as well as a spur res 3C skill, each granting plus 4 res. All of these together ensures Ennis can reach 51 resistance. Now there are some conditions that have to be met to ensure this 51 resistance is reached. First, Ennis must be next to his ally that is using rally resistance and spur res. Second, he must also have at least a C support with that same ally. And third, Ennis must be getting attacked during the enemy phase so that distant defense activates. The main idea for this setup is to bait in mages during the enemy phase. The gameplay may have already spoiled it, but the ally I chose for this setup is actually Adult Tiki with a plus defense boon and minus speed Bane. Now there are some important reasons why I use Adult Tiki instead of someone else. First off, she has Lightning Breath, which is a distant counter weapon. This pairs with her high defense so she can fend off against archers and dagger users. She can also tackle physical melee Ennis, which is good because Ennis has some of the poorest physical bulk in the game, so Tiki can cover those weaknesses. Being a dragon, Tiki also deals magic damage, which means her and Ennis can fit into any team comp while having a decent amount of coverage. Adult Tiki comes with Spur Res 3 at 5 stars and can, to be honest, is the main reason I began creating this tag team in the first place. She can easily inherit rally resistance without giving up anything major. Speaking of coverage, Ennis can deal with Tiki's weaknesses, namely Falchion, Nagatome users, as well as any fast mages. On screen you can see my Tiki's current build and what exactly I'm using at the moment. I never used her much since launch, but surprisingly, with Quick Repose added, I have very much enjoyed using her a lot more. So my builds are far from perfect, and there are still ways to improve this setup. Ennis can inherit the Distant Defense 3A skill for maximum protection against mages. I am currently using Quick Repose on Ennis since even with the buffs, he still won't be outspeeding the meta mages in Arena. However, Cancel Affinity would be great for dealing with Raven Tomes and Triangle Adept. Those mages do stop Ennis in his tracks, and even without it, unless Ennis can proc his special, then he struggles to kill off high defense mages. Keep in mind my Ennis is plus defense minus res nature, arguably the worst possible nature, so he could potentially have an additional 6 resistance just by being a plus res nature. You could also give him the summoner support buffs as well as any number of merges to improve Ennis himself. With the new Sacred Seal Forge, I could give Tiki a Spur Res Sacred Seal for more resistance, or even Spur Speed, since I think Ennis could then run a different B skill. Also, don't forget that this 51 res only comes from just having one ally next to Ennis. His Nidhogg bow grants some additional stats for every ally next to him, as well as any spurs or buffs they may have on top of that. For this reason alone, I think Ennis is a great defensive baiter. Some things I realized while making these builds is that besides Nidhogg's extra stats, anybody can benefit from this setup. Think about it, a rally skill and double spurs from C skills and sacred seals. You can potentially grant someone plus 12 for any one stat during combat. You could very much apply this set to a defense oriented character for insane physical tanking. Like I said before, I think Adult Tiki is actually really good now. I know everyone says young Tiki is better, but for this setup, the higher defense, built-in distant counter weapon, and Spur Res 3 absolutely make Adult Tiki perfect for the job. Give her Quick Repose and she can secure kills on her own just fine. Some problems with this setup is that if Ennis can't kill the attacking mage, then things get complicated. This leaves him open to Wings of Mercy users, or even dancers with Wings of Mercy, that can now dance their mage and let them attack someone more vulnerable than Ennis. For this reason, I started using Quick Repose, since Ennis won't be outspeeding these popular fast mages, and he generally can't one-hit KO anyone unless he has Iceberg ready. I think the main thing to take away from this video is that spurs and ally supports and sacred seals have introduced a lot of ways to make your heroes more powerful. I know everyone likes to use buffs, but with the ability to improve sacred seals, you can now run double spurs on one unit. If you don't understand what exactly spurs are or what they can do, then you should check out the guide I did that will teach you everything you need to know regarding spurs and similar effects. So I hope you guys enjoyed my magic tank Ennis setup. I could have used anyone to support him, but I hope you guys like my explanation for why I decided to use adult Tiki and how well her and Ennis complement each other as a team. I think Nidhogg and Owltomes can make great use out of ally support, as well as adding in spurs to create a super buffed up baiting unit. I was really excited to make this video, and I hope it inspires you guys to try and see what crazy team combinations you can make. I also hope it showcased how good Ennis can be. He can actually run a Brave Bow build just fine, but I wanted to see what he could do with his own weapon. Turns out, he has carved a really cool niche as a high res archer similar to Niles, but can buff himself up with some help from his team. Tell me what you guys think of the setup and your thoughts on Ennis or Tiki in the comments. I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next Fire Emblem Heroes guide.